Today we're going to learn a different way of drawing in Adobe Illustrator. We started out by learning how to draw with the shape tools, and that was one way of creating it, but that's not always the most practical way to create something if you want to create something more complex. So we're actually going to work from a photo today. We're going to work from a photo of an animal that you find on Google. So I'm going to search for my favorite animal. So I'm searching for a panda. Once I've saved my picture to my Documents folder, I'm going to open up Illustrator. Remember that when Illustrator opens, it does not open a default document, so it'll look like it hasn't fully opened. You have to go up to File and click New, and it's going to open a new file for me. This is the default size. Something that I've seen some students doing is changing the size with points. Points is a different unit of measurement than inches, so it should say the default is 612 point by 792 point. But if you change the units, you'll notice that that's equivalent to 8.5 inches by 11 inches, which is the size we want. It's a standard size piece of paper. So I'm going to hit OK. Alright, so what I'm going to do now that I have my document open is I'm going to place in my photograph that I selected from the internet. So I'm going to go up to File and I'm going to click Place. This is just like what we do in Photoshop. Photoshop and Illustrator are made by the same company, so they have a lot of the same features and functionality. Okay, so here's my photo of a bear. You'll notice that you also have layers in Illustrator. If you don't see your layers, like if you might see your view like this, your tools might look like this. Your layers, if you want to use them, are this button right here, and you click them and they pop out. You can also change the way your tools look by going to Works Window and then Workspace, and then you can click on a different setting. I like doing painting. That gives me the kind of the tools that I like to see available to me. So now I'm going to, what I want to do is I actually want to lock this layer because I don't want to end up drawing on this layer unintentionally. So I'm going to rename the layer just like in Photoshop. I'm going to call it my panda photo. And then I'm going to click the lock. The lock is different than Photoshop. The lock actually is this empty box next to the eyeball. I click that and now I can't edit this photo anymore. So now I need to create a new layer. So once I have a new layer, I'm going to start my work on drawing this. The way we're going to do this, instead of with the shape tools, we're not going to use the pencil and we're not going to use the paintbrush, so just ignore those tools for today. What we are going to use is the pen tool. The pen tool is just to the left of the T, the type tool, and it's just below the magic wand. It looks like a calligraphy pen if you've ever done calligraphy. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, this creates those points that we talked about. Remember that vector shapes are made up of points, lines, curves, and shapes. So I'm starting to create this. You're going to notice that this is a straight line, not a curve. I'm going to show you how to add curves in a moment. First, I want to get the general outline of the panda head. So I'm going to just go around and make only a few points, because when you're making something round, you don't need that many points. The more points you make, the more chunky it will look. Notice too that I can't see the panda head anymore. That's kind of annoying. So what I can do is go over to my fill over here, and instead of having a color here, I can select the box with the red slash, and it goes away. And now I have just the outline. So now I'm ready to start creating some curves from this to make this look more like the panda head. To do this, I have two tools that I can use. One of them is this direct selection tool. It's the white arrow up at the top here. And I can actually, if I missed where I put the point, I can actually click on just one of the anchor points and I can drag it. So that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, well, that's one way, but that's not going to create a curve. The other tools that I can use, if I click and hold on the pen tool, you'll notice there's some other tools here. There's an add anchor point, a delete anchor point, and the convert. And that's what we want, the convert anchor tool. So this is like an upside down V. So I'm going to click and drag, and notice that it becomes these little handles that pop out. This takes practice. This is not an easy thing to do at all. That's why we're doing this as a practice project, so that we can kind of get familiar with how the pen tool works, because it's very different from the way that you draw in ArtRage or Photoshop. So as you can see, my panda head outline is not perfect right now. I need to adjust it a little bit. So I'm going to grab my direct selection tool. You can actually click right on one of the handles and you can pull it in like this. I could adjust this point if I need to and adjust the handle. And you can see here I need to pull this handle out a little bit more to make room for the whole rest of the head. And the thing about when you're creating an object that's going to have multiple colors is you want to draw a shape for every color that you're going to need. So right now I have this one's going to be just the outline of the head. I'm going to make the ears separate, and then I'm going to make the eyes and the nose and the mouth separate. So right here you can see that I'm not quite hitting this point where the panda's got this kind of little thing that sticks out here. So I'm going to add a point so I can put that in. So I use the plus, add a point there, and I'm going to now use my magic with the handles of the curves to sort of adjust that. And pull this down a little bit. You guys can see what's happening here. Now, one of the most frustrating things is you'll notice is that sometimes you'll try to adjust one handle and the other one will move with it, and that can be really annoying, but it's actually very useful. So now what I want to do, just to check my work, I'm going to hide the panda photo by clicking on the eyeball on that layer. And now you can see this is the outline of my panda head. Doesn't look like much right now, but I'm going to keep adding some details and then you'll see how this works. I'm going to label the layer that has the head drawing on it, just so I can keep track of everything. I'm going to lock that layer, and then I'm going to create a new layer, and now I'm going to do the ears. Same process that I did for the head. And I'm going to show you a little trick so it'll save you some time. So I'm going to do the ears by clicking in a few places to create, I'm making actually like a triangle. And then what I can do is use my convert tool to pull out the handles and adjust this a little bit so that it looks more like a panda ear. If you notice that you'll pull your handles in towards the anchor point, it actually makes the curve less steep, so that's a good thing. So now I'm going to hide the photo again just so I can see the ear. It looks pretty good actually, I like it. So instead of having to make another, draw another ear, a quicker way would be to actually just make a copy of this. This is one of the things I really like about drawing in Illustrator. Once I've drawn something and there's something very similar on the other side, I can right click on the object making sure I have my black arrow selected, and I can go to transform, reflect, so that's like a reflection like a mirror, and I can flip it vertically and then I click copy. And what I just did was I made an exact copy of this, but now it's facing the other way. So now I have two ears without having to have drawn it. This ear is not exactly matched up with the ear that exists here, but thankfully I've got my tools that I can use to sort of adjust it, tweak it however I need to make it look more like the ear that's existing here. And that's nice too, because nothing in nature is really perfectly symmetrical, so you don't want to exactly have two the same. And so let's hide my photo now. And you can start to see that I'm coming together with some sort of creation here. And eventually, as you continue to work, you're going to get something that looks like this. I'm going to hide the photo, and now you can see that I have the ears, the eye patches, the eyes, and the nose. I haven't gotten to the mouth yet, and I can continue on to the body. This is the basic way that you draw using points and curves using the pen tool in Illustrator.